Okay, great. So, hey, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 5 of OPT.Earth. I'm Michael Vincent, and I'm co-host with Emma Whiteman. And how's it going, Emma? I almost called you
It's
White.
going
I almost called you Whiteman.
good. Whatever works. I mean, same person. My dad's nickname in school was Whitey. So if you wouldn't use that
Whoa.
one, that would be good. But
How's it going, Whitey?
Whitey,
Yeah, no, we'll go with
that's
Emma.
right.
I think I'll go with Emma. I don't know why Whiteman came out of. I don't know what's going
All
on.
good. Yeah, but I'm doing great. It's been super, nice week even with this heat wave. So we're working through it.
Yeah, we're getting rain down here in Chattanooga, which
Oh,
is good. I'm getting like
that's
we're
nice.
into our normal like summerish. I don't know if you've been to Florida or not, like South Florida,
Yeah.
where it like rains every day at a certain
Oh
time.
yeah.
We're
hmm
kind of in that mode now, which we get into here, where it just builds and builds and then rains and then stops, and
I
So
didn't realize that
yeah,
you guys got so much rain like every day. That's interesting.
yeah. When I first moved here, I was moving here. I was reading about the area and stuff,
Mhm.
and I it, just a few inches of rain a year on average away from being like a subtropical rainforest.
Wow.
We get a lot of rain here,
Very cool.
which is, yeah, it's a neat area. I like it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Sweet.
what are we talking about today? We're talking about a news article and we're talking about sustainability as a business practice, right? And what a hot topic it really is. And like you were pointing out when we were kind of in the locker room talking before the show, before we started here, this really fits in with what we were talking about on the last episode, right? Talking about the circular economy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there's a lot of companies out there that are moving towards a circular economy. There's a lot of companies out there that are eliminating waste altogether. So it's kind of cool to see these companies that are make prioritizing sustainability, and consumers are really appreciating that. Even if maybe you don't know what these companies are doing, almost every company is starting to think about something. But there are this news article was really cool, and they outlined a bunch of companies that are doing cool stuff, and we have some to talk about too. So it should be a cool transition from what is a circular economy to how does it work in person, in real
Yeah,
life, so to speak.
the thing that I found interesting of this is there's one in particular here that I should know and I don't. New Belgium Brewery. Don't ask me why I should know that. I should, but there's a lot of sustainability that is going on there that people don't realize is happening out there, and I think that's a fault of their marketing departments because it's really important. Like you said in this article, it says right here, and this is, and I'll put a link up to here, but the article is onetreeplanet.org.
Mhm.
It's a blog from onetreeplanet.org. Um, and I know some people who do that. They plant trees for different orders that you give them. But a 2017 study found that 87% of U.S. consumers will buy a product based on how a company's values align with their own. Maybe even more significant is that 76% said that they would boycott a company for supporting an issue that runs against their beliefs. Now, that's not particularly exactly sustainability, but it ties in the mission and what your company is at least perceived to stand for into whether you're going to have customers or not, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that perception is everything. I mean, at the end of the day, you could be doing amazing stuff for the world, but if people perceive you as bad, it's going to be bad. If you could be doing great stuff you could be doing horrible stuff to the earth. And if you're like touting that you're green, which is greenwashing, but that's another topic for another day. But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you could be doing horrible stuff, but if your perception is coming out this way, but more and more people, especially with the access to the internet, especially with access to information, people are doing their research about, okay, what does this company stand for? Do I want to continue to buy these products? Do I want to continue to support these people? It's not necessarily just what's the most convenient or what's the cheapest option nowadays. Sometimes it really does come down to, okay, I'm never going to buy XYZ company again because they are polluting the river that runs through my town, or employing child garment workers or whatever it ends up being. And also from the article was that 9 in 10 Americans said that they would switch to a brand associated with a good cause. And 66% would even be willing to pay more for a sustainably made product. But the inverse is also true. They found out 88% of consumers said that they would stop buying a product if they learned of that brand's irresponsible business practices. So there really is proof in the profit, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. The proof is there. I find myself actually doing the same thing, right?
Yeah,
And actually spending a bit more for it.
definitely.
Which is really really interesting, and I love the fact that this is coming out and people are understanding this, and that it's not just, oh, it's the millennials. Quit blaming stuff on specific generations. We become
Right.
more and more enlightened, hopefully, as we move on, and we can learn from the younger generations just as we can from the older generations. But it's like 85% of the millennials, but it's also up to like 60-70% of the baby boomers and those
Right.
before them as well that are becoming more and more. I'm not going to say woke because there's a lot of silliness that goes along with that, but there's are understanding the impact that we're actually really having on our planet and our environment, and that it's actually, companies can exist and they
Mhm.
can't figure out how to do it the right way, right? And I mean, so we're going to talk about some companies that have led the charge here in the sustainable and responsibility, right? And how they're attracting new customers. There's a whole bunch of ways to do that, because I've read different articles also, Emma, about not only is it keeping or gaining and retaining uh, consumers, customers, and building kind of that community around it. You can build the community around those, but it's
Mhm.
also attracting the top talent and retaining that top talent that is incredibly important.
Which is especially important right now during, I guess, I don't know if we're still in the midst of it, but the Great Resignation. Like, people are looking for places that align with their views, and companies are looking for quality people. And this is a way that's been proven to work, which I think is really cool. So I guess we can go back to New Belgium if you want to talk about that first, because I found that one really, really interesting. Brewing beer, I think it's something like 4 times as much water goes into making one beer as it would be to just drink that water. So it's almost like
Oh,
feeling guilty to be wasteful for drinking. I guess part of the many reasons one might feel guilty, but um,
yeah.
the New Belgium has found a way to do it where they're not having to change their client base. They're not having to increase the price of their beers, and they still make really, really quality beers. And someone could buy New Belgium off the shelf and not even know that they are sustainable. But they took 99.9% of their waste away from the landfill. They have very extensive recycling and composting programs. They separate all their metal, all their cardboard, all their plastic, and they actually are selling these materials to recyclers. So something like 4 or 5 of their employees are actually paid just from the money that they make selling these materials back. So it's you're still producing the beer and it's still using the water, but they are finding a way to take those waste products at the end and kind of making some good out of it, which I think is pretty awesome.
Wow. That's so hey, I wish I had a beer, but hey, cheers to New
No,
Belgium.
cheers to that.
I've got a tea, but I wish it was a beer.
Yep,
That's
agree.
awesome stuff. So cheers to those guys. And here's another one from the articles is Reformation. I don't know Reformation. I don't buy their clothing. Maybe I will. Do you know Reformation?
I
Maybe.
actually never have really even heard of Reformation, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well,
Never.
so one of the things that is interesting, and we just talked about it, right? Kind of on the sides, is New Belgium. New Belgium's doing some great things, right? And that's why we're highlighting these people from this article, because they're doing great
Mhm.
things. We want to support that. And let other people know that they can do this. But one of the things that is in those studies about gaining and retaining customers and employees is they want to know that you're retain. They want you to be transparent of what you're doing, and they want to be able to see that there is an impact being made, right? And one of those things that Reformation really focuses on is the transparency, right? So they're sourcing their materials sustainably, and they actually track the environmental cost of each piece of clothing, and they display it on their website.
Amazing.
right? So you can check your tag and find out the washing instructions. You can also go online. It says you can go online and see how much CO2, water, and waste was saved during the production of every article of clothing they sell as opposed to others, right? Now, along with that also is like Tesla was taken off like the sustainability index. Okay. And it wasn't because of not being electric cars or electric cars, but it's because of the other efforts that go on inside of their company. And so, like Reformation, electric car chargers are in all their parking lots, offering their employees public transit passes, et cetera. So, aside from just what they're doing with their product, they also are creating a sustainable lifestyle and allowing their employees to have a positive impact in the environment and in their lives through their work environment, which is, I think, is pretty tremendous.
Is key. Yeah. I've worked places before where, no one knows how to recycle. There's no recycling been provided. There's no compost provided. And to see a company that's actually backing this up and saying, okay, we're making these really quality products, but also we're allowing our employees to live their best waste-free, sustainable lives that they can. That's so cool. I really love that.
It is. Yeah, it's really cool. And like I said, that's one of the reasons that Tesla was removed from this report, was because of the other things going on inside of the company aren't necessarily supporting that mission. But I think it's very cool. I think it's very cool.
Awesome. Very cool. One of the ones that I've been really liking recently, and it was mentioned in this article, which I was very happy to see this, because Lush has been doing some great work in sustainability, especially in packaging. Like I said last week, my dad has been in beauty packaging for, years and years and years, his entire career. And it's always been a point of contention because 70% of waste in the cosmetics industry is coming from plastic packaging. And up until very, very recently, there has been no other option, right? Like everything that is quote unquote sustainable, which might not even be sustainable, was way too expensive. But Lush is taking that, and it's taking these products that everybody needs and creating sustainable versions. So all of their products are vegetarian. Most of them are vegan. I think it's like about 80%. And all of their packaging is 100% recyclable, compostable, or biodegradable in some sense. And I actually did get a shampoo bar from Lush, and I tested the composting in my home composter, and it did break down. So they're not just saying.
There you go, folks. There you go.
Very cool. They also have products that you can buy that are considered naked products. So they're, like I said, like a shampoo bar, conditioner, soap, body butter, anything that you need. And it actually just comes in a bar. Like, because if you think about it, why do you need a package? Like, I guess if it's coming through the mail, but if you pick it up in the store, it's just going to go, and it's going to go into your shower. Like, it's soap kind of in itself. So it's going to clean itself. And it's cool to see them thinking like, why do I need this package? Like there's no real reason. And they're eliminating that for a lot of their products that you can buy in store, which is eliminating so much plastic waste from the stream of waste that gets put in the landfill or the recycling plant every year. So it's taking it a step further. You're not even just saying, oh, this can be recycled. It's like, oh, there's nothing to even have to recycle or get rid of,
Yeah, no, I love it, and it goes along with when we were speaking to Pauline about living intentionally, right? And we talked about that, the consumer packaging and how it has become so wasteful because it's really there to catch your eye and to make you make decisions, really to make you make a quick decision. Yeah. I mean, it's getting you to buy that product. That's the intention.
I will say, though, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Products, when you see them online, you're like, I need this right now, even in the naked version, because they have like these shampoos that have like, it looks like sprinkles in them. Like they make them still visually appealing, but like it's not like you're looking at a brown lump. Like there's something visually appealing about it, but they're able to do so without this flashy packaging, which I think is kind of cool. Like they will always have my vote for that,
It is very cool, and because it is difficult, and we talked to Paulina, it's difficult to have cool looking packaging that is actually sustainable,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
you take the sustainability and then you put nice shiny chrome or, the painting on it and all that kind of stuff. And then it's not recyclable anymore. It's not
Right.
compostable, or it won't break down anymore. And so that's something that living intentionally, you've got to do that. And the more we can get that message out, it's going to be better. But it's cool that it's also something that's appealing to the eye, because you're right. I mean, it's kind of like, you look at some of these, veggie based burgers, they don't look all that, they look like a
No, they look kind of gray and they're not so good. Yeah, I've actually stopped eating veggie burgers because some of the ones they come out with are just they're not appetizing.
I'm going to tell.
Burger industry. Sorry.
No, I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
I grill Beyond Burgers. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I use Impossible meat. I've made my own burgers out of it.
Yeah.
Even better.
Okay.
And I am a master griller. I smoke briskets for 12 hours. I did.
Wow.
Okay. I don't anymore, but I was doing that stuff. And I'll tell you one thing. I love beef jerky.
Yeah.
Beyond Beef, their jerky, plant-based jerky, phenomenal.
Okay. All right.
It's awesome. If you like beef jerky and you want, they have it down to, you've had beef jerky, right?
No, I've been a vegetarian since I was like 7 years old. So
okay. All right. Well, ask somebody,
but I don't remember.
Yeah. All right. So your dad or somebody has, but anybody, somebody watching here might, maybe my mom or your husband has. When you bite into a piece of beef jerky, sometimes you're trying to tear that thing apart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They mimic that. There are pieces that are tough like that are hard to chew. You eat, your jaw kind of gets sore, certain kind, because the meat has been dried so much. They mimic all.
Feeding that primal urge to rip something apart with your teeth.
I'm a meat eater. I'm down to just chicken and fish and turkey, but
Wow.
It kills.
Good to know.
Beef. Yeah, and so you see somebody buying it, say, "Whoa, check that stuff out." It's awesome.
Okay.
Not necessarily better for you,
but at least it's
not the same.
Right?
It is, and I mean, I'm going for plant-based because I need to be more healthy with my red meat and stuff like that. But it's also one of those things that, hey, if we didn't eat half the amount of meat that we did, we would lose like half the greenhouse gases that are warming our planet too.
Right. So, I guess I would be wondering what the environmental impact of creating that, like Beyond Beef, is.
I don't know. It might be 100 times worse. I
have no idea. Like maybe it's manufactured in a plant that releases methane like double the amount that cows do. I mean, who knows? Like. So,
you're right. It could be.
But it does make me feel better to eat veggie things either way. Maybe it's just you think you're doing better, but
I don't know. Hey, cleaning the air, Tree. All right. So we are, and this article is coming from One Tree Planted, and they say Tree is one of their most amazing business partners. And what Tree does is they make eco-friendly clothing, right? And for every piece that they sell, they plant 10 trees.
Okay.
Around the world, and they've planted over 20 million trees.
Wow.
Okay, with 25 around, and by 2030 they want to have placed 1 billion trees into the ground, which is great. I agree. The more the merrier. Hopefully they're better ones. But they begin so they're using hemp, organic cotton, and natural dyes and stuff like that.
Wow.
And that's one of the important things that I was talking about when you get into packaging and stuff like that. Holy mackerel! I love packaging. I think it looks cool. I like cool looking things. Everybody does, right. I think. But when you start getting into those dyes.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. I don't know necessarily about clothing dyes, and I'm not sure if you know, but I know that some of the packaging dyes, if you dye a package with a certain type of ink, it's like the ink is plastic, so it ruins the recyclability of the package or something. You might know better than I do, but I feel like I've heard mumblings about that, so I might have to look that up.
No, you're absolutely right. It's what they call it. They call it. It has been, it's been compromised. It's been, what's the word for it, Emma? It's been
contaminated.
Contaminated is exactly what they call it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there's some type of weird virus in it like COVID. It just means you can't separate those plastics anymore. Can't be
right. Like recycling contaminated, not like
Yes,
disease.
yes.
Interesting.
So, yeah, no, you're dead on. That's one of those things that is not a good thing, not a good
Well,
thing to do.
I wonder if there's something like that in dyes and clothes. So like taking something like Ten Tree that uses like natural dyes is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know. I think what they're using, I mean, obviously, if they're using this dye that is eco-friendly and you can do it, they're natural dyes, I suppose, that they work. I think there's a lot of natural dyes that are out there. I just think that when you start getting to those metallic ones and the raised lettering and
Right.
stuff like that is when you start getting into polymers that might be in there,
Right.
et cetera. And then
again, carbon footprint of creating those dyes versus carbon footprint of taking a bunch of blueberries and smashing them up. I don't know. I think it would make more sense to use a more natural dye, but I could be wrong again.
I've dyed my fingers with blueberries and strawberries.
Yeah.
And Cheetos.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Doritos, anything orange. Well, so Soma's it was listed in the article, and I had never heard about Soma either, but they are a reusable water bottle and water filter company where their whole thing is about providing access to clean drinking water to people all over the world. So they donate a portion of what they make to a charity that builds wells in developing countries to make sure that those people have access to clean drinking water, which is really, really cool. So it's really cool because they use post-consumer recycled materials and invest in tree planting and forestry projects to give back to the planet. They're certified B Corp. So for them, it's not all about the money. They are keeping what they need to continue making a difference in someone else's life and providing clean water to people, planting trees, and using post-consumer waste so it's not just going to the landfill. And creating a really cute water bottle. So definitely worth checking them out as well.
Well, there you go. I mean, they're creating packaging, right? Kind of. I mean, a reusable water bottle is like packaging, kind of. I think. I don't. But planting trees. It is. It really is. Planting trees is something that okay. This is why I got confused earlier because I thought of something that I wanted to bring up and then I forgot what it was and I was searching in my brain to try and figure out what it was and talk at the same time, which is not a good thing for me to try and do.
Yeah.
But what I learned, what I learned was, fake Christmas trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're made out of plastic,
mm-hmm.
and that's not good, right?
Yeah.
But at least you're not chopping down a tree every year.
It's so funny that you bring plastic trees. Oh, sorry. Are you still talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go.
And maybe this is where you were going to go too.
Probably.
That's bad logic. That logic isn't good at all because talking to people who harvest those trees, because I'm in logistics and we've talked right around Christmas tree and everything. We talk about the different seasons that there are in logistics, and Christmas tree season is a big season. It sucks up a ton of capacity. And it's one of those that is done what we call on paper contracts and stuff like that. It's not like electronically tendered to people and stuff like that. These loads, they're mostly just farms that have deals with trucks and stuff like that. And so you really don't know that it started until there's no capacity to haul the other goods. So it's one of those things that you got to keep your pulse on. You got to keep the pulse of. But the interesting thing is talking to people is that this is when there's a reduction, and there's been a reduction of people buying natural trees, it actually hurts the environment because of the amount of trees that are replanted, and it takes them 5 years to grow there, right? And so when you slow that down, 5 years later, we see a reduction in the number of trees being planted. And so it's actually better to support buying and chopping down those trees because of the back industry and replanting of those trees that follows behind it. Does that make sense?
You know, what's so interesting is that makes perfect sense. And I was going to say the exact opposite, where I thought that I had read an article where plastic Christmas trees
I agree with you.
Are more sustainable because you can use them longer. So that's so interesting that you say that, because I didn't know that other aspect of it, where like the planting the trees and the laps and stuff like that. But I had thought that I had read that planting trees was, or like the space that we use to make the trees and the transportation and the plastic wrap around them that goes on top of your car and everything made them less
Well, you
sustainable than the
you
trees
use
now.
hemp rope. You don't use plastic. Make them use hemp rope, or take your own hemp
Like that.
rope
Yeah,
that is true.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will
I
say there
mean,
was
seriously. So
something.
you can go, but you can go look at like the Natural Conservatory and some of the other ones, and they'll make the argument that buying natural trees is actually better for the environment
Interesting.
than not, because of the sustainability efforts at the tree farms. It's actually better because the carbon footprint. It's obviously
That's
and the number of
amazing.
trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
No, and it
good.
makes perfect sense. I wonder,
Yeah.
so I was going to bring up
So
a company in the UK that provides rented Christmas trees. So they basically give you the bulb. So they're not actually cutting down any trees. They are actually giving you like a mound of dirt and roots, and they
I
give
love it.
you like it potted, and then you return it. They grow it in their farm or whatever, and then they give it back to you.
So you just kind of rent a tree and give it back to them?
It's like a tree rental, yeah. And I will say, I will try. I tried to do it. This was our
Did
first
you?
Christmas married, so I got a little tree in a little pot, and I planted it. And it was all nice, and then I immediately died. So that was a fail. But they found out a way because they just replant them in their fields, and they know how to
You
take care
kill
of
it.
them. So you could have
Yeah.
the
You
same tree year after year after year, and you're just renting a live tree. Like I think that's kind of cool. But I wonder if it's sustainable. I mean,
I,
makes you think.
I don't. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. The arguments that I've seen on the Christmas tree is, and it makes sense to me, is that they're replanting another one that goes for 5 years, and when you're done with the one that you have, chipping it up and using it as mulch and stuff like that is compostable,
Yeah,
and you're not creating plastic that never goes away, and you're not creating the carbon emissions that you are, to produce that plastic tree.
it's so interesting. It makes perfect
Makes
sense what you're saying.
it makes sense to me. Now, I've not done the math. I've just read the stories.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's
don't
something
yell at
that
me.
deserves a little more of like a deep dive, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, if you just Google it, is it better to buy a real tree versus using a plastic Christmas tree? You will immediately find sustainability organizations and conservationists and environmental organizations that say, yes, it is. And
Cool.
here's the
Okay.
argument, which makes me feel better about making that statement, I
Yeah,
guess.
because I'm sorry, I can't drag myself away from a natural tree. It's something about it with the needles everywhere. Like, and I always do feel guilty, hence why I tried to grow my own little tree. But yeah,
Well,
that's,
keep
that's,
doing it.
yeah.
Keep doing it and feel better about
Yeah. All right.
it.
I'm in.
Now, you said you had some other companies you wanted to talk about. Did you want to bring
Yeah,
those up?
just real quick. One of my favorite ones that I've been loving recently is a group called Plaine Products.
Okay.
Similar to Lush, but instead of providing like a one-time use item, they send you your Plaine is Plaine. They send you beauty products in aluminum bottles. So you're still getting, like, I
Ah,
had trouble with Lush when I was washing my hair with shampoo bars. My hair was getting real dry and it just wasn't working for me. And I was like, well, I guess that's the end of like my sustainability in the shower sort of project for myself. But then I found Plaine Products, and you ship, when you're done with it, you ship them back the bottles, they clean them and put more product in it and send it out to someone else. And you keep your pump, so you use that pump over and over and over again. So I have like all of their skincare products. I have all of their hair care products, and I think that they're really cool because they're really creating a circular economy. I use the same boxes that I got them in to send them back. And they say that they use their boxes, I think it's 5 times before they end up in the
okay.
recycling, the cardboard boxes. So I think it's there is the aspect of it where, you're shipping stuff back and forth, which isn't great. But I found that it works really well if the naked bars don't, you know. So I
No,
really like
this is really interesting because they have, and I just pulled them up, and you're right. It's plaineproducts.com, plain Plaine products.com. They have subscriptions, right? So you can get a
yeah.
subscription model going on, unscented, travel sizes. Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff, man.
Yeah, they're
Right.
really cool. And I would recommend them for anyone who is struggling with finding hair care that works in the shampoo bar form, because I did that for years, you know, and it wasn't working for me, and I needed something different, and this filled that gap for me. So the coolest thing is that there are so many options out there, and there's an option for everyone, which I find pretty inspiring.
Cool. And they have a counter on their site. So right to this, the moment that I pulled up this site, they had eliminated 419,957 plastic bottles.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, great stuff. So Emma, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm OPT_Emma on Instagram. You can leave me a comment. Let me know if there's any cool brands that I should check out, because I'm always on the hunt for sustainable stuff. And leave comments on the YouTube video as well if you have any brands that you think we should pay a little more attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Michael at oceanplastictechnologies.com. Vincent the Dude on Twitter. If you've got a brand, if you got a product that is eco-friendly and you want us to feature it, give us a call, man. We'll interview you. We'll talk online. We'll get your word out there. I'd love to talk to you and see what you guys are doing there, what your thoughts are. So get it out there. It's been great stuff. And I promise you, we're going to get into the EPR stuff, because it's there's a lot going through it. We are. Yeah. We're a couple of years behind other places as far as recycling goes and EPR law goes. there's no doubt about that whatsoever. So anyways, excellent stuff. Thank you so much. Peace and love, everybody.